I'm pretty intrigued. Like, the title of the next talk is pretty perfect. It like spikes my interest. It's like, can content structure boost revenue by 753%? It's a pretty specific number. I hope the answer is yes. And I don't know, maybe it's no, maybe it's even more, I don't know. The person who are going to give us these answers are Colleen Jones, who have been heading content at MailChimp before, and now she's running a content agency called Content Science. So I'm super intrigued by this talk. Welcome to the stage, Colleen.
Thank you. You can hear me okay? I love it. Excellent. Hello, hello. It's so great to see familiar faces as well as a lot of new faces. This is my first in-person event since the pandemic, so this is really, really exciting. So chances are you're here because you value structured content. But did you ever think that it could boost revenue by 753%? Today, I'm going to explore how content measurement and structured content together can bring you results beyond your wildest dreams. But before we get into that, I'm going to share just a very little bit about me so you have a sense of where I am coming from. Like many folks that you've heard from here today and yesterday, I have been into content since before it was cool. I've been in and around the space for many years. I've learned a lot and really enjoy sharing lessons learned where I can in things like books and LinkedIn Learning and sessions like we're having here today. But perhaps the most important thing to know about me is that I am a Star Wars fan and a proud dog parent. This is my dog, Dottie, dressed up as Yoda. Very, very good sport to do this. And if Yoda was here today, I think he'd say something like, 753%? Ridiculous, that sounds. But if you think about it a little bit more, it actually isn't that ridiculous because today, content is critical to digital business. Whether you're dealing with customers, whether you're growing audiences or serving citizens as part of governments, content is really working hard in these digital experiences. And the opportunity for content to have an impact, to make an impact, is huge. It's bigger than it ever has been before. At the same time, the challenges are bigger than they ever have been before. And the promise, the opportunity to be successful with content is really exciting. It's really difficult to be successful. And these are just a few insights from different consulting and research firms calling out different aspects of the challenge, ranging from making that content really compelling to bringing together content from all the different sources and pulling that together into some kind of experience for customers and audiences. And so at Content Science, we've done a lot to explore what does it take to be successful with content. What are organizations who are getting some things right, what are they doing and how are they avoiding some of these challenges or working around them? And so over the years, we've done a few different studies around this. Our most recent one came out last year. And I want to share just a little bit from that and talk about how that connects measurement and structured content. So first, I'll share that we developed a maturity model for content operations, which is really where a lot of the challenges for content lie and where structured content helps tremendously. So we developed a maturity model in the spirit of all models are wrong, some are useful, that goes in a range from 1 to 5, 1 being chaotic, really an ad hoc approach to content, all the way to being really sophisticated, thriving, you've got all the basics covered, you're also able to innovate and really take the experience with content and the ROI with content to new levels. So think for a moment where your organization or where your client's organization might be on this range, if you just had to guess right now. And then I'll share our most recent result. We found that 46% of organizations that participated in the most recent version of the study are at levels 1 and 2, the least mature levels. And if you thought of your organization as more in that range, you're definitely not alone. I think we also are hearing from organizations today that are more, in the 3, 4 to 5 range, which is super exciting. So, clearly we wanted to learn what are the level 4s and 5s, what are they doing differently? And that's something that we delved into. One success factor, one thing that these organizations are doing differently is they are measuring content impact, effectiveness. They are doing it, all of them that had all the characteristics of being at level 5 are doing it, versus about 40% of organizations at other levels of content operations maturity. And we also did a lot of slicing and dicing and found that evaluating, measuring the impact of content regularly correlates with a lot of other signs of success, factors in success, and I'm sharing just a few here. So a secret to success with content is to measure its impact, really have a good, regular understanding of that. Another secret to success that I'd like to share is adding even a little bit of structure, not even getting to the sophistication that several folks have talked about here today, goes a long way to making the measurement of content more efficient, faster, easier, meaningful, and actionable. And so I want to share a brief example with a home improvement retailer. So if you took on some kind of home improvement project over the past 2 years, raise your hand. Yeah, many of you. I did as well. Definitely a big thing to do while sitting around and waiting for COVID to do its thing. So it is no surprise to most likely to hear that this home improvement retailer has a lot of guides, how-to guides, inspiration guides, buying guides, a lot of content to aid customers as they are working through, home improvement projects and thinking about how to really make their homes more like their ideals. And so the marketing group with this home improvement retailer really wanted to know, can we make these more impactful? And so we started with a benchmark measurement of the content effectiveness. And to help us make that more meaningful, we added a little bit of tagging to the content, including calling out more specifically what kind of guide, adding a little bit of structure in that sense, and calling out some other characteristics of the content. And then we also took advantage of another secret to success that we discovered in our content operations research, which was bringing together a variety of data, not just the analytics, in order to understand the impact. And so we brought together things that were important for this particular group, such as organic search visits, attributed revenue, customer feedback about the content specifically. And that gave us a really good set of data to slice and dice and play around with. So then we explored what were some of the characteristics of success for this content. And as part of that, we looked at structural elements, like what combinations of sections really seem to be correlated with higher impact, higher performance, how many images, what kind of images, how much text, and what sections. And because this is a large home improvement retailer, there is a little bit of structure to it already, but still a lot of wiggle room within that. We were dealing with content that some guides had 20-some pictures, other guides had 2 or 3. A really wide range. So we were able to really sift through that and figure out what seemed to be correlated with more success. And then from there, we're able to use data as well as best practices to add a bit more structure and establish some standards. And we did that with some documentation with an eye to both guiding the content teams and the marketing teams, as well as using this documentation to help inform requirements to make changes to content templates and processes. And so, we called out some of the key elements for each type of content and guide, as well as more specific detailed guidance to really ensure there is adherence to great practices and what we discovered in the course of really analyzing the impact of this content. And then we assessed how the updated guides with added structure and more consistency around adhering to standards, how that performed. And so we took a look after a few months and saw really promising results, that content that was adhering more to structure and standards, more optimized, was definitely having more impact on organic search visits as well as revenue. And then we took a look again after a year, and this is when all bets were off, and we saw that, the impact on revenue for optimized content following more structure and standards was 753% higher than content that was not. And so in the course of partnering with the home improvement retailer to look at how to really make the most of this great timely content that they had, we also learned that adding even just a little bit of data to inform the standards, the structure that you put around content can dramatically improve the effectiveness. So, what that means for you is this combination of measurement and structured content is a really incredible force. And, you all are Jedi masters of structured content. I think several of you at least are Jedi masters of data as well. What I just shared was relatively simple and achievable even for an organization that is somewhat new to structure content, we always have to meet clients where they're at and help move them along in the journey to structuring content and to other good practices. So, if we got these kinds of results with just bringing in a bit more structure and a bit more standards and bringing that together with data, imagine what everyone here could achieve by using this powerful combination. So I look forward to hearing about the ludicrous results that you get. Thank you.
So it is true.
It is true, yes.
Yeah. It's tempting to say, like, structured content you must, or don't think, use your instincts. I don't know. I didn't think that Star Wars would be such kind of a red thread in this conference, but here you go. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Colleen Jones.